What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including the real reason behind the WWE releases, as WWE lied to its wrestlers, more releases coming, Billie Kay's heartfelt goodbye, a new announcer on SmackDown, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Now, our first story looks at Mojo Rawley being released, adding Mojo Rawley to the list of recently released WWE superstars. Rawley, aka Dean Muhtadi, was 7-time 24/7 champion and won the 2017 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which sums up his WWE career other than his friendship with NFL icon Rob Gronkowski. Mojo's career seemed to be getting a shot in the arm when Gronkowski signed with the WWE, but evaporated once Gronk returned to the NFL after a brief retirement. Mojo has been missing in action from WWE television for a number of months now, and his release is kinda no surprise, to be honest. Still, we wish him all the best on what he wants to do next. Next up, the WWE lied to its release wrestlers. The WWE's recent releases aren't a surprise given the WWE's policy of releasing wrestlers right after WrestleMania, but it may have been for several of the wrestlers who were released. According to a report from Fightful Select, at least 2 released wrestlers expressed their desire to continue wrestling, including Mickie James and Samoa Joe. According to Fightful, Joe was not medically cleared. The report suggests the WWE had these cuts planned for some time and hinted that WWE may not have been upfront with its wrestlers about what was coming. Word of WWE cuts actually made its way around a couple of months ago. However, we've been told that multiple people among the cuts have inquired about whether or not they were on the chopping block and whether they were told they were going to be among them only to be cut. One wrestler told us, "It's just an annual reminder that this is a company, not a family." Anyone familiar with the WWE's practices should know that the only family in the WWE is the McMahons. They may throw a few bones here and there, but in the end, wrestlers are expendable in the eyes of Vinnie Mac. Whether it's holding them down to contracts but dismissing them as pleased or stopping them from making money on third-party platforms such as Cameo, there is no loyalty towards the WWE superstars, and anyone who thinks differently is a fool. But what's the reason behind the releases? Now, it appears that the recent rash of releases is based on one reason: the almighty dollar. There's certainly something to be said that several of the superstars were in wrestling limbo, no matter how you feel about their talent, but the ultimate reason for them being future endeavored boils down to the Mr. McMahon mantra. It's all about the money. Dave Meltzer discussed this in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, saying, "The company's profit margin is in its highest in history, but the goal is to improve profit margin. As noted in other moves of late, WWE no longer fears, or whatever the term would be, that AEW will be able to do numbers equivalent to a Raw or SmackDown, and instead of hoarding talent they won't be using, they're letting them go." Also, in regards to Billie Kay, the reason behind her firing was that Kevin Dunn just didn't get her, and that he visualized that she has a ceiling in WWE, obviously seeing no potential in her. That report comes from Fightful, by the way. But the WWE's brought in record profits and likely feel stronger than ever based on their recent blockbuster deals, such as their sale of the WWE Network to the Peacock streaming service and a television deal in India. Despite the major cuts from last year, WWE still has a large roster and feels comfortable with its current talent. Although they continue to see its ratings slide, Vince McMahon likely sees the profit at the end of the day and isn't concerned. Dave Meltzer noted that all released superstars are under a 90-day no-compete clause, which means they are being paid their downside guarantee through 14th July. Be sure to check out our video tonight on where we can see these released wrestlers ending up. Next up, more cuts coming soon. Last year's Black Wednesday releases led to a number of wrestlers being cut from NXT as well, so don't be surprised to see some of the stars from the Black and Gold brand being future endeavored. Meltzer noted, "The rumor going around was that there would be more cuts on 16th April concentrating on NXT. Whether these cuts will focus more on wrestlers training at the PC or involve stars competing on television remains to be seen." Next up, Aleister Black safe? While fans were surprised by some of the names on the list of released wrestlers, some fans were surprised that Aleister Black wasn't on the list. Black, who's been missing in action for months, seemed like a prime candidate to be let go due to the WWE not using him and his wife Thea Trinidad, aka former WWE superstar Zelina Vega, being released around the same time she suggested wrestlers form a union. However, PW Insider reports that the WWE has started filming promos, apparently to hype Black's return. Wrestling News noted the promos are said to be about Black's childhood, so it looks like they're going to add some layers to his character. While Black is a talented wrestler, that's never stopped the WWE from releasing wrestlers. We wouldn't be surprised if Black was released somewhere down the road, despite the promotion working on hyping a supposed return. Next up, Billie Kay's fond farewell. Billie Kay, aka Jessica McKay, was one of the several released superstars, but there apparently is no ill will towards the WWE. She posted a message on Twitter, and an excerpt which follows: "Thank you WWE, Vince McMahon and Triple H for the past 6 years. They have fulfilled my dreams entirely, from being a 10-year-old girl that fell in love with WWE from the moment I saw The Rock on television, and now I'm walking away with so many incredible moments, from Super Showdown in front of my friends and family to winning the tag team championships at Wrestlemania." Billie Kay thanked the fans and her fellow superstars for their support and encouragement, then thanked Iconics tag team partner Peyton Royce, aka Cassandra McIntosh. "And thank you to my life partner Cassie. Our journey started together, and it's only fitting that it ends together." The WWE's handling of Billie Kay and Peyton Royce is an excellent example of their abominable booking of its women's division. Kay and Royce were one of the few established women's tag teams, but despite considerable charisma and a funny gimmick, they chose to split the pair up, reportedly because the WWE wanted to push Peyton Royce as a singles wrestler. Royce's singles push never materialized, and she was instead put in a team with Lacey Evans. All that just to get fired. And finally, Pat McAfee joining SmackDown. Last but not least, some surprise news is former NFL player and football analyst Pat McAfee is now co-hosting SmackDown with Michael Cole. McAfee, who provided guest commentary in NXT and even wrestled 2 matches, also hosts the Pat McAfee Show on SiriusXM. WWE tweeted, "Pat was up to something. Pat McAfee joins the SmackDown announce team starting tonight." McAfee tweeted the news as well. "Good morning, beautiful people. Tonight a dream comes true. Thank you all so much for following along with this dumbass life I've been incredibly fortunate to live. I'm grateful for it all. Let's enjoy this thing. Be a friend, tell a friend." This is just one of several shakeups to the WWE's announce team. They recently added Adnan Virk to Raw, replacing Tom Phillips on play-by-play. SmackDown's color commentary Corey Graves is now performing the same role on Raw, and McAfee will work alongside Michael Cole, who incredibly is still employed by the WWE despite years of mediocrity. This announcement, while surprising, fits into Vince McMahon's history of wanting announcers from so-called legitimate sports in WWE's broadcast booth. You may recall they tried to sign former UFC commentator Mike Goldberg in 2005, and wrestling legend has it that Vince McMahon tried to get Goldberg to no-show a UFC event if he had signed. They're making some interesting moves to their commentary team, and McAfee may get some new eyeballs on the blue brand just from curiosity. However, it's unlikely that any new commentary team will help the ratings in the long run, as long as the WWE continues with a stale product. But there you have it, guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.